welcome to this class. So we're going to paint some pine cones. I want to show you my quick test piece. I like actually the loose look of it. I painted the pine cones two different ways. I'm going to show you the first one where I wet everything and then we apply colors starting with the lightest colors first, and then I painted every single piece separately. So I'm going to show you two different ways. Now here's something to consider. For the snow, I actually used some wax stick. If you have textured paper, great, you need texture. So you would basically either use masking fluid for watercolors or wax stick. So I'm going to show you with the wax stick. I'm just going to rub it in, basically, just to add that wax. Whatever I want, like that white snow, basically. Have your colors ready to go. We're going to wet the entire pine cone and then apply colors wet on wet. So my first pine cone, I'm going to show you like this. So you wet the entire pine cone here. Stay away from some of these parts because that's where you're going to create some of that snow effect. Let's see here. And then I am going to first apply the yellow ochre and some of this imidazolone yellow. Watch how the paint spreads. You do want that yellow, even maybe more of that imidazolone yellow. And then you can see where I applied the wax stick, right? Just keep grabbing the colors, but you basically want to show the separation of colors. And then now some of the burnt sienna as well. And first it was more like a water milk-like ratio. Now go for like a half and half like ratio. The ratio between water and paint. So the yellow plus burnt sienna. Make it nice and rich in colors. Yellow plus burnt sienna. Now at this point, at this stage, I'm going to transition to more like a heavy cream-like ratio. I actually want red with my burnt sienna now. So now you can see I'm changing the shade of that burnt sienna and I'm getting closer toward like the center areas. It's like right here where we have the shadows. There you go. And now let's go for creamy paint. And this time it's Van Dyke brown, some red, and how about phthalo blue? Even more of the maybe burnt sienna, more of the quin red, but it has to be creamy paint. And I grabbed paint that was too diluted with water. Now this creamy paint goes toward the shadows, right? So only shadows. And if you have to, just switch to a smaller brush where you feel comfortable with, like just to apply these the colors, all this color blend, right, on the tip of your brush toward these areas. This is where I want to show that there's that snow more blue to show like nice shadows. Actually, I just remembered my test piece, I also added a little bit of like cold blue. That's what it was, cold blue. I want to dry brush a little bit. We do have that snow. And we should show that you can see a little bit of the pine cone underneath the snow. So this is just a little bit of dry brushing. And from the center, you're going to pull away a little bit. Just add lines, but you can use a rigger brush for this. Or even like a smaller round, let's say round 2 brush. Just to create these lines. Just this part. And it's nice to show that phthalo blue here. Alright, I'm going to clean the brush. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of cobalt blue. It could be even, if you'd rather use just phthalo blue too. And this is just dry brushing. I'm dry brushing to show that there's some snow. I don't need to add it everywhere, but I'm kind of even pulling from here just to reactivate some of that color. This is just dry brushing. And I'm gonna clean the brush. What I want to do next is quickly, before this part dries, grab a little bit of this creamy sub green, phthalo blue, and I want to show you quickly because we have pine needles sticking out from this snow, just for the snow. And what I'm gonna do real quickly with a quill brush, I'm gonna grab my quill brush, I'm gonna quickly wet this part very gently, and then grab like, this is like red, quinacridone red, some of that cobalt blue, even grab some yellow, change the shade of this background. And you don't have to like close in, like go really close to these pine cones, but just so we have like some sort of a background. And you can do this wet on dry too. Quick and effective. And here actually, we could add another pine cone, just like we see in the reference. So some burnt sienna, yellows, if you want to add another one. And this is more like a heavy cream and a quick add-on basically just for the colors. Now, here's important. And then go toward the background because you want these pine needles to go over the background. Don't forget to grab some blue because we can actually definitely see that blue popping in there. And if you see this is like dry brushing, that's because I'm using creamy paint. Because part of it, like I wanted to be wet on wet, and parts are going to be wet on dry. Because there's different ways to paint pine cones, definitely. So many different ways. And I've showed them in the past, like how to paint them differently. This is a little bit of the burnt sienna, but I don't think I like it. So I'm just gonna go with this creamy paint, but that was too creamy. Back to here. And I think that's plenty. This became a little too thick. I need like a shadow. So I'm gonna clean this brush and grab some phthalo blue plus Van Dyke brown. I need shadows here. It's just dry paint. But that's pretty much it for this painting, unless we want to add more. I keep thinking if I want to add any more, but I think that's plenty. All right. I feel like that's it for this class. So I'm going to remove the washi tape. The washi tape is dangerous because it has all these drops of water. Alright my friends, this is the class version and here is my test piece. I'm gonna take photos of both so you can see to compare, like, but it's the same thing basically. However, there's way more white here for the snow and this is kind of super fast. Actually, I painted this really fast. Thank you so much for your time. Please let me know if you have any questions. Yellow turns into green. Then clean your brush quickly and start over, like grabbing the colors again on your brush. So more of that phthalo blue, and as you see, I'm not going all the way to the end here, to the edge of the snowman. I'm leaving this part as light as I can. One thing I should have done, and it's too late for me, maybe it's not late for you, is to add a little more to that shadow here. You know, it's still wet. Might as well add a little bit. It's just the indigo. So, for example here, whatever you can see shadows, when you take a look at these marshmallows, you will notice that they are not like perfectly white. What's reflecting over it is actually the chocolate, the color of the chocolate, the cocoa powder, or colors from the mug. So here we do want the highlights, so we definitely don't want to lose the highlights. So here's this version from the class, and there's my test piece. I painted this test piece so much faster, and I actually like this one better. Along the sketch line on the inside, so you have more highlights. For the red part, we're gonna paint this once everything dries, and then we're gonna focus on re-wetting just this section here above the house and we're gonna start working with the reds. I'm gonna use quinacridone red, pearl red, and we're gonna get closer toward the house. And then here, this is gonna be the area that we're gonna keep as light as possible, just with this nice glowy yellow. Now, if for some reason you lost some highlights, remember you have a stiffer brush, smaller brush, so you can use it to lift a little bit. I suggest to really wipe it on a towel if you need to lift. And let's say we want to add some highlight here on top of the neck area right there. This is a damp brush. You clean your brush, wipe it on a towel, and then you lift colors. And then you can add gold over here as well, like in the background. I think I'm good with it. Oh, actually, you know what? These are the examples of these trees, what they look like. So the first wash is very light, and this is the brush that I am using. This is actually a full class that's available on Patreon. So it's important to blend your colors on the paper instead of your palette, so you can see the separation of colors, so that blue has different shades, so it's not just cobalt blue, or let's say you mixed the colors perfectly on a palette. There's no point for that because we're painting with watercolors. Now use the pointy part again of the brush, the tip of your brush, as you keep moving down, and the ratio between water and paint should be somewhere between water to milk-like ratio, and I'd say even go with water, something that feels like water, so way more diluted paint with water. And then you just keep going, and you can use a rigger brush as well, and I'll help you, like maybe with the tree tops, to create some of the thinner branches. And then you can use darker shades such as Van Dyke Brown, Indigo, to add these trunks, and you want to do that wet on wet. So when we first started painting these trees, it was wet on dry, but the layer is still wet, and we're applying these darks now. This is like indigo basically, wet on wet. So it changed from wet on dry to wet on wet because we were adding more color on top of it, and you're only adding those darks towards like the areas where you have shadows and you see a little bit of those branches. Now once you're done applying colors, you actually want to place your card like so it stands up, so the paint kind of keeps moving down a bit, and in between you can add some water, for example, to create slight blooms, tiny blooms. That's when you want that paint to drip down a little bit more for that effect. But you'll find more information and you'll get to paint the entire card in my Patreon school. So there will be more cards to paint. This is just day one, and day one is really detailed. So it's a full real-time video where I talk in real time as I'm painting. So I hope to see you on Patreon. Thank you so much.